Welcome back to Total Football Talk. Everything has been flying out through the doors at Old Trafford all over the last 24 hours. There's been so much stuff happening. It's been relentless. I've not had a chance to report on it due to some family stuff. But obviously, there's been so much movement with Manchester United players coming out. Unfortunately, not as many players coming in as we actually would have hoped for. But absolutely tons and tons of news to get through this morning in your 10-minute roundup. And I can imagine things are probably going to slow down after this because, we have hit the heights of the Premier League. The Premier League spent over 3 billion in transfer fees and wages, etc. It's probably the biggest expenditure ever, an unbelievable transfer window. And ultimately, where have Manchester United ended up at? Are you happy with the transfer window? I'd love to know what you guys think out there. Do you think it's been a good transfer window? Do you think it's a poor transfer window? The average transfer window? Where does it sit with yourselves in terms of a transfer window? I'll go through my thoughts, but let's look at some of the news and headlines that are breaking this morning. And that is, the midfielder was a big issue for Manchester United, and news coming out today was Ruben Amorim had pushed for Baleba internally, and Radcliffe wanted Manchester to try and sign him, but the club could not, in the end, justify the price. At the start of the talks, United sensed Brighton were open to a sale in the ballpark figure of João Pedro's Chelsea move of around 60 million. United had agreed personal terms with Baleba, who was keen on switching, having received positive messages from Onana and Buma and Euro. United are expected to return back for Baleba in the future. Okay, so the midfield is a massive area that Manchester United needed to fix. I'm massively concerned because when you break the midfield down of the players that we currently have, Casemiro, he is getting older. His legs are getting, maybe one game a week he'll be able to go and sustain it for a little bit longer than I think. And I'm hoping he can prove me right here that I think he can maybe just hang in there, get through the season. But the partner alongside him, Ugarte, really needs to step up. Maybe he needs a run of games. He needs to find some form. He really has to come to the fore now because Bruno is not a player who can play in midfield. He's too erratic. He cannot hold his position. He's ill-disciplined. He may be brilliant in other positions, but not playing in this specific position. I don't think he can hold a midfield because I don't think he wants to. He wants to do plenty more going forward. And yes, he will. He does work hard, and his running stats are off the charts. But the problem is he runs everywhere. And we need someone who can do a specific job and do it to the best of their ability. Bruno does, but unfortunately that is everywhere else on the pitch too, which is not ideal for anyone who's playing alongside him. Kobe Minu is going to get opportunities now. Obviously he wanted to go. I think regardless of what happens with Casemiro and Bruno, and I know Ugarte at times has maybe got on before Kobe, but Kobe did come on half time instead of Mount at the Burnley game. I think that maybe there's a chance he can get more minutes, get under his belt, and start conducting that midfield. And I hope that's what happens this season. I hope that Kobe gets a chance to refine his form and help us in that area because, my God, we need it. There's not a lot in the academy. Sekikoni obviously picked up an early door injury, facial injury. We'll have to see how he comes back from that. Got injured in very early one of the under 21 games. But also, we can't rely on another 21. You're already relying on Kobe, who's very, very young. Can we rely on another kid to come in through the academy and help us out? I don't think that is the way forward. We've got to bring academy kids in at the right time, and now is not the right time at the minute. So Baleba is wanted. We knew Ruben Amorim wanted him. We knew that there was a chance that that Baleba was the player that would maybe transform this particular midfield. But I just think we're at a situation now where are we going to get him? Can we get him? Can we get him next year? Can we get him in the summer? Can we get him in January? What would you good people out there do? When's the best time to go and get him? Me, personally, if we leave it to the summer, I think we'll get outbid. 60 million, I mean, I knew it was going to be around 100 million, and I got no concept of how the transfers work behind closed doors at that level. But Casado went for 100 million. Did they think they were going to let Baleba walk out for 60 million? I mean, I am pretty shocked. I'm pretty disappointed if they did think that was the case, because most footballing people, yourselves and myself, would know that they would have been looking for 100 million, and that's exactly what they were looking for. And obviously, we were priced out of that, but we did have money to go and buy a midfielder, and that was before we brought all the money in from all the other players. So that's where we are with Baleba. Do you think we're going to get him? I think we do need someone of that ilk. There's a bit of me hopes that Baleba's deal isn't, or sorry, that Baleba doesn't perform as well between now and Christmas, just purely based on the fact that his head's been turned, and that maybe we can go back in for him, get him in January, maybe a slightly cheaper price. I'm talking maybe 80, 90 million. It's what's probably going to cost, and then we will have to take it from there. But that's where we are. Do you think Ruben Amorim's been let down because he hasn't got a midfielder? I do in that respect. Now, this was a little bit, there was another information that came out. After they had lost out on Liam Delat, they considered proposing a 2-year contract for Danny Welbeck if they could agree a free with Brighton. So Jim Radcliffe was known for he felt that United could not sanction a 2-year deal for a player who was 35 in November, and instead a 1+1 was discussed, but this was not formalised. Danny Welbeck has done very, very well for Brighton. Danny Welbeck's done well for his other teams that he's played in the Premier League. He did very, very for Arsenal. He also did very well for Manchester United. Is he the type of player that we would have needed as a striker for Manchester United going forward? Would the fan base have been happy with that? Would they have been disappointed? Personally, me, if you're bringing him in as backup maybe, and you've got Sesko and you're bringing him in, fine. Not if you're bringing him in to lead the line. As good as he is, and as you know, the lad's still fit and he's doing a very good job at Brighton, I still don't think there's no way we could actually go in for a mega. Absolutely insane. So another strange decision, that one in some respects for me. Now this is essentially the breakdown of the summer transfer window. Matthias Cunha, 62.5 million. Diego Lon, 6 million. Mbeumo, 71. I mean, these are all with add-ons. Sesko 73 and Samme Lemmens at 18. Now these are all with they as they say, all including add-ons. Are you happy with that? Do you think that is enough going forward for Manchester United to do well in this particular transfer market, do well in this forthcoming season? Have we got enough quality in? Can we score enough goals? Can we defend well enough? And I was listening to a podcast with the Muppeteers. We're talking about it, which is quite interesting. Manchester United have done well this season in terms of, we are meant to outperform Burnley, which we did. We had a lot more shots. We were the better team for long parts. We really put them under pressure. That is what Manchester United are supposed to do. That's what a good team's supposed to do. I totally get that. Obviously, mistakes cost us. Once again, our goalkeeper had a bit of a howler with one of the goals. And these things happen. And our defending for one of the other goals, Luke Shaw switched off. Gallo didn't stop the cross. The basics weren't being done again. So these are all things that need to be eradicated. But from all those players that are being brought in, will Ruben Amorim get the time to bed these players in, get them to learn to play the system? A new goalkeeper is going to be a change for the back three. Can you get fit again? Can Mbeumo and Cunha start to thrive off each other? Can they create chances for Sesko? There's still so much that needs to happen going forward on the training ground for these players to find their feet and get up and running this season. It's almost like we need to kind of bypass the midfield and hope to Christ that we have enough in defence and attack, and maybe now with the goalkeeper, if the kid can do well. I'm expecting mistakes because he's still young, unproven in the Premier League, but I'm backing him. But the midfield is a hollow shell that God knows what will happen between now and the start of the season. Now and the end of the season. Okay, there was I'm just going to quickly go through the Samme Lemmens thing. Brigham Manchester United agreed the 21 million plus add-ons with Royal Antwerp for Samme Lemmens. Agreement in place for the Belgian goalkeeper to join Manchester United immediately. Deal set to be sealed after medical. So obviously we know that he's done his medical, he's passed his medical, and I was talking to a journalist this morning who just informed me that the deal went through about 10 o'clock last night. So even though the transfer deadline deal time was done, all the paperwork was signed in time, but all the other stuff that needed to take place, it ran on, and we did get him in the end, which is really good news. And now obviously there was the other thing that was quite interesting. So that was Samme Lemmens. We've got a new goalkeeper. I'm pleased. Now this one I am sort of pleased with because he needed to get out, but Jadon Sancho is off to Aston Villa. The green light was given and the deal was confirmed. Now Jadon Sancho is someone who has really frustrated me. Kid had a lot of talent, then decided he didn't want to use it, mucked around with his career, wanted money. I think he's literally just stayed here to grind out enough of that final contract, get it down to the bare bones so he can potentially leave on another year. But I think what United have actually done is what they've done is with that contract, they've actually decided to extend it. So now they may get some kind of monetary reward down the line. I don't know whether it would have been just better on the financial side of things. I don't know whether it would have been just better. Let him go out. We cover 20% of his wages. Villa cover 80, and then he gets the opportunity to leave on a free next year. But maybe we can retain some kind of value if we can sell him. Maybe there's some clause that Villa have to bring him in. I don't know, but looks like we've signed that contract extension, or it's being triggered, and we're going to have him for another year. I just hope he is not sitting around, wallowing at Carrington with no of the other so-called squad of players that were there that now have all left except from Malacia. I think his knee injury is going to be something that's going to haunt him, poor kid. I think that's going to haunt him for a long time, and whether he'll get a move away or not, I don't know. But all the other players have gone. Garnacho went to Chelsea. Højlund, fair play to him with dignity, went to Napoli, and I hope he does well. Rashford, not so much with dignity, but he did want to play football, so I'll give him credit for that, and he's gone to Barcelona. Anthony dragged his heels, and eventually we got a deal done. So he did the right thing last year and went away and played and proved himself, but yeah, he caused us problems in terms of just the transfer deal, and we dragged that one out. But that one's over the line. All these players are gone. How do you feel about it? Do you think that is Ruben Amorim the right man to drive us forward? Can he do well this season with that particular squad of players that have left the club? Does that mean we eradicate all the bad attitudes and the bad apples? Does that mean we now got a core of players and team that actually want to progress, move forward, and try and help this club drive to where we need to be? Or are we just going to fall back straight into the trap of some of these players are going to turn in the manager, down tools at some stage, Ruben Amorim finds himself under massive pressure, potentially gets sacked, and we have to start the whole ball rolling over again? Christ, I hope that's not the case. I really want to believe in this manager. I really want to believe that we can move forward. Yes, it's going to take time. I'm prepared to give him that time. I just don't know whether the rest of the fan base will, and whether we can, whether it's sustainable. Got to keep winning. It's got to get back-to-back wins. Tough one against City, but that's where we are with it all. Last final little bit of news was Harry Amas, fair play to the kid, has gone out on loan to Championship side Sheffield Wednesday. Now Sheffield Wednesday are in all kinds of trouble financially, but I think I hope it's a good move for him. He's a very good player. Obviously, Diego Leon has come in and maybe has taken his place. Diego Leon hasn't started a match yet. Kid looks good, but a long way to go. He's only 17 or 18. He's got a lot to learn. He's got to even learn the language to start with. He's got to learn about living in a new country, and then the knock-on effect of all those sort of issues that he's trying and get over. Then he's got to try and play his best football in maybe the under-21s and try and maybe squeeze his way into that first team squad. Maybe he will do if there's injuries, but it's going to be a difficult one for him. But I hope the lad just keeps his head down, knuckles sod, plays well, and I also hope Ari Hamas goes out and does very well at Sheffield Wednesday. Good kid, great kid. Lots of potential. Played well when he came on last year in a few games. So that's where we are with the news. That's the roundup. Thank you very much for joining me. I should have said at the start, if you've got this deep in, thank you very much. Hit the old like button. Please hit the subscribe button. And we will keep bringing the news. As I said, apologies it's not been daily, but thank you for everyone who's sticking with me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'm getting better at this. I have a long way to go myself. A bit like United. All right, thanks guys. Speak to you in the next one.